So the next time it happened, again, mind you, in the same house, and there was neighborhood kids around, and they were all different ages. And the oldest one was as old as my oldest son. Again, being triggered in my now reality for me to remember these memories coming out. Because I would have an interaction with my oldest son, and he would say things and do things that were totally just him being him. And I would have flashbacks. And it was so alarming because I would be trying to deal with my present moment with my son, and yet trying to process the information, the downloads that I was getting. So, they're like, we don't need details, but here's all the details. I don't know how to describe anything without just saying everything. We were all downstairs in the basement playing, and I just remember being on top of something, like I was like on display, and they were telling me to do stuff, and I guess I would do it. And I'm like, I don't know. Is this bad? Is this wrong? What is this older, clearly at least a good 10 years older kid telling me to do? I don't know. What's so great about this? Yeah, I have a this. What, to me, it didn't feel like I was doing anything wrong. I wasn't aware of what I was doing. I was just there and doing what the older kids in the room were telling me to do. And I distinctly remember my mother coming down the stairs and like catching it in action, and everyone froze, and she told everyone to leave, and like the room was cleared out. And I just remember thinking, like, what happened? Like, what? But the thing that I did remember, even though I don't even really know exactly what happened after that, how she felt toward me. She was so disappointed and so ashamed of me. And it was like from then on, it's like she could not unconditionally love me. Like my innocence was gone. Like I was just this piece of trash. And I distinctly remember from that moment on not feeling love from her. And also from my brother. Like he was so angry. He was so mad. And it just feels like my whole life I was trying to feel seen in any other way but that. I was trying to feel loved unconditionally with all my faults and things that had happened. It just felt like my whole world shifted at that point, and I did not understand why. I didn't get at the age of 3 or 4 that what did I do that was so bad? So how does this translate? Yes, it's possible to completely black out memories and remember them a lot later. And there's tons of forms of therapy and trauma and things that you can, tools that you can use and utilize. I think for me personally, that shaped how I felt about myself. which wasn't very good because I thought, well, there must be something wrong with me if my mom doesn't love me. There must be something wrong with me if my brother hates me so much. Like, I must be a terrible person. And I had the worst self-esteem my whole life. And I actually got like my perfectionism from that because I was like, oh, it has to be perfect or it's not good enough. And nothing was ever good enough. It was like I gave myself this bar, and even though I hit it, it's like I couldn't even be proud of myself. I was like, oh, well, there's still this or this over here or what have you, because that's how I felt. And I always looked for the outside to help me with how I felt on the inside. And I mean, obviously now I know that that's not healthy and the right way to do things. Another reason why so my family was I was raised Southern Baptist. I went to a private Baptist school. I was paddled for asking questions, for questioning the teacher about the Bible. Which seems so wild to me now. But that was like totally normal. So I never bought into any of that. I always had questions. I always had my own thoughts, my own whatever. And talking about the spirituality aspect, I think a lot of times I would say things that would freak my mom out, my family out, and they were like, we don't say that. We don't talk about that. You know, I think I've seen dead people since the beginning, but you know, when you're super little, you're like, oh, hi. But we don't tell the adults because they were like, we don't do that. And then you block it out again, blocking it out. And then it would happen randomly, like through family members. Excuse me. And that's the thing about gifts or spiritual abilities or anything like that. I don't think anybody asks, hey, I want to see dead people. You're not like, oh yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that one. You're just kind of given these things, and how you handle it is up to you. And it wasn't until I started opening myself up to all these things that I'm like, yeah, okay, now I see dead people and I can channel dead people now. So I guess that's called a medium, but that's not the extent of it. And I guess how it ties into this is because I was never religious because of going back to the sexual abuse. It was happening in other family members' family, like aunts and uncles and cousins and things like that. And everyone just kind of knew about it and didn't talk about it. Or if they did, they went to the church and the church was like, oh, we'll pray for them.